Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA. This episode is the New Year's episode. By the time you hear this episode, it'll probably be sometime in February, either the first week or maybe the third week. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have so many episodes in the backlog, including Solitude and other things that have been kind of on my mind, or that was on my mind, but I didn't get the chance to edit it. A lot has been going on, just like probably your lives as well. A lot's going on, and I just finally came to the point where I feel like I'm at a revival. And what I mean by that is just the spirit of this podcast has descended on me, and it's like, hey, you need to get back to this. And I do need to get back to it, but things have been happening. It's funny because I've been in a pretty bad mood. I just kind of got tired of everything else going around in my life. So I was just like, okay, let's shoot out some episodes and let's get this back on the roll. I'm just going to talk about random things, kind of like hard goals. I think from like what we've been experiencing, it's very important to have some hard goals, because when you don't have hard goals, everything is going to drag you into different directions. And this topic came because of some conflicts that I've been having and some things that I've kind of been avoiding. And if you listen to my episode about avoidance, there's the thing about avoiding things is that it's always going to creep back into your life. It's kind of like trials and tribulations, where there's going to be trials in your life, there's going to be hard times in your life, which is tribulations, and some of these things will continue to repeat until you deal with that situation. You could avoid it, you could hold it off, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to face it. And there's certain things that I guess that's happening to me, right? So sometimes you have to look at your own life and you have to figure it out. It's easy to tell someone that, oh yeah, just do this, do that. But when it comes to taking your own advice or dealing with your own scenarios, you will make excuses for yourself so that you don't have to go through with it. You're the one who's judging it, right? Especially if you're judging yourself. This is talking about judging yourself, not judging others. That's a completely different terrain. But as I was discussing with a friend, I got into a scenario, and I like to be open with certain people, and they basically just told me that you're basically in the same scenario that you were in prior. It's just that when you got out of the situation, everything was fine. You even saw the improvement, but when you went back, you kind of regressed. So you could even talk about kind of like relationships in the sense, or even certain crowds that you hang around. If all your friends do drugs, maybe eventually you'll do drugs, right? That influence is there, that temptation is there. That's the atmosphere. The point is that certain things keep people together, and separation can change that, and it can completely change your view on a lot of things. There's people that you could respect, or people you even vibe with, but once you stop doing certain things, your view of that person isn't necessarily the same. Another thing that I've been focusing on and kind of trying to find new methods is like, I talk about my coping mechanisms and mental health in the sense where this is what I do to relieve myself if I'm feeling super stressed, to clear my mind out, to get out of the gutter of negativity, right? And I call it kind of like the bouncing back method, right? Sometimes when you're really motivated, you have to try to remember where you were and get yourself back into that kind of momentum of, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Oh, I did this. What's next? What's next? I'm winning, right? You want to have that feeling of winning because it's going to drive you to win more. Your brain's wired to pleasure, but at the same time, you want to make difficult things more pleasurable so that it's long lasting, right? When you grow something naturally, it feels better. You feel more rewarded in that sense. But when you get things instantaneously, it doesn't feel the same. And that's something that we have to remember, especially in this instantaneous age, this internet age where everything comes instantly. I was talking to someone at work, and we were talking about just living in the early 90s versus living now, where nothing really is a surprise if you have access to the internet. Going on a road trip, you could completely plan your road trip. You could see what's going on and everything to like the T, compared to when we were younger, or even when you hear stories of other people, or even watch like an 80s movie where they're driving. I was talking about the example where, before you could drive to a random town and you try to figure out what there is to do there. And now you could completely plan like an 8-hour trip or whatever, go to a specific place to go to a specific spot because you saw it online. I was talking to someone and they were talking about wanting to go to Lake Louise. And Lake Louise, I would call it the Instagram spot of 2021, where all these people were going to Lake Louise and taking the same exact photo. And there's so many places in the country that can look like that. It's literally a lake and there's mountains at the background. So how I see it, I think it's very basic. Some people might be mad when they hear me say that. And I was talking to another friend about that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to go too." I'm like, there's no basis of going to the place where there's nothing there. It's just a backdrop, right? You could have a green screen, put Lake Louise in the background, bam, you're there. There isn't anything exciting to do there, and then it's the spot that everyone goes. So when something like that or somewhere like that becomes popular because of the internet, a lot of traffic is drawn over there, and then if people go somewhere where it's kind of secluded, people just destroy the environment because it's flooded. We've seen stuff like that with like the cornfield phase in, I would say, the late 2010s, maybe like 2017 to 2020, where people were going to the field, taking a picture, and it was destroying crops, right? It was destroying a lot of crops, and some farmers only had like a portion of their land because so many people would come and take pictures in a sunflower field, for example, because they've seen it online and they want to replicate that kind of feeling. There's not a lot of things that are as natural anymore, if that makes sense. And it's strange and it's weird for me because a lot of these places, they're fads. In 2017, everyone wanted sunflowers, right? Near where I'm from, there's a pumpkin patch place that's open around September, and there was a year where everyone went there. People still go there, but that year the traffic was extremely crazy, apparently, because everyone saw it online. So that whole adventuring phase, it was different. It's completely different. But going back to bouncing back, I'm going to bounce back to bouncing back, right? You got to put yourself into that state of mind. I ran into a song that motivated me a long time ago. Well, seems like a long time ago now. And then a lot of things kind of just followed through, and it got me to the point of making another podcast episode. And it's just like, that's the power of your memories, I guess, in the sense where a lot of people might think, oh, this is negative or whatever, and they'll have their negative thoughts, and that's going to consume how you take everything in, right? I am on Instagram, and there's a page that always has negative stuff. It's clickbaity stuff that's negative. But because it's negative, it gets the clicks, it gets the likes or whatever. It's the same thing with like positive stuff, but this page feeds off that negative stuff, and that's what kind of makes it popular. And we need to be able to bounce back to a point in our life where we were motivated, where like, let's say like you were working out and then you stopped. You have to put yourself back mentally into the state where you started, right? What motivated you to start doing this? Why did you stop? Why can't you start over again? Because if you did it once, you could most likely do it twice. So kind of to wrap it up, this is going to be a really short episode, I guess. Sometimes when you're starting up again, you know, there's things that you have to do, or there's things that you can do to make it a little bit easier. And when you're avoiding stuff, life is going to force your hand. Like for me at the moment, there's so many things that are forcing my hand because I avoided them. And as I go older, as the new year started, as years go by, and the environments that I'm in, if I don't change at least my mindset, those things won't change. And if I don't change my strategies, things will stay the same. And if I want to be happy with what I need to do, and the same thing with you guys, if you're in a similar situation, you have to tackle whatever that is and get on it right away, because that thing might be blocking you from being the person that you dreamed of being, or even the person that you're destined to be. So hopefully you guys like this episode. There's going to be more frequent episodes for sure. This is something that I'm going to focus on a lot more as well. It's part of my goals. I might talk about my goals, but I feel like I've been letting myself down by sharing everything. So I think I will share some things, and I'll keep some things hidden so that, you know, it could be a surprise for you guys, because you don't even really want to share everything. And maybe I'll do a spiritual episode about that. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I enjoyed making it. Yes, it's short. A bunch of mini projects are on the way. I'm going to try to work on more editing for the rest of the day. And then it's back to work, back to the grind, and back to it. But if you like this episode, you know what to do already. If you have any ideas, any goals, any feedback, leave a comment. If you're listening to this on somewhere where it can be commented on, and let's hear what you have planned for 2022. What are your hard goals? Are you trying to bounce back? Do you want more tips on bouncing back? Is life forcing your hand to change? Are you facing a revival where you're getting that new spring of energy? Do you have your money right? Or are you on your way to getting your money right? What are your goals? What do you want to do? Are you going to take control of your life, or are you going to let everybody else in your life pull you into a direction where they want? That's the big question. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.